Is Jim Jones actually a hater? You probably already had your answer before clicking the video. Cool. It's not my intention to change or confirm how you feel about dude. All I will be doing throughout the course of this video essay is breaking down a few particular high profile situations and comments made from him. I'll be giving my own thoughts, then letting you, the viewer, make what you will of the evidence presented. So, without further ado, let's get right into it.
This one's for my hustlers. Bang, bang, bang.
I think one of the most important things we have to establish is what exactly is a hater. I believe everyone has a different definition of the word, but what you interpret as hating can be the same as someone else's, albeit with slight variation. Some examples are, I think dude corny, so I dislike everything he put out instantly. Damn, bro just got all that money. His ass not even from the hood for real, and he used to get beat up. Man, all the subscribers he just got on YouTube, I'm pretty sure they bought it. So things like jealousy and becoming visibly angry at one's success is what I consider hating. There are definitely levels to this hating stuff. Some haters can have an actual reason, such as if you wrong them in some way and they become fixated on get back. The most egregious of haters though, in my opinion, are those who don't need a reason. From the moment they first introduced to you, they just do not like you and actively root against your progress. So now that we established my criteria for hating, let's do the opposite and list what I don't consider hating. Constructive criticism. I specified constructive because a lot of criticism is baseless, and this is a hater's main tool. It should be noted, I do feel like you can simply not like someone. That don't mean that you hating.
I ain't relating. If I don't like it, I don't like it. That don't mean that I'm hating.
Next up is merely stating a fact. Now, I don't consider stating a fact inherently hating, but it can be hating if you attempt to weaponize the facts against someone you clearly at odds with. For example, let's say if my son don't listen to Nas.
No,
My son can't tell you one Nas record.
And I get on an interview and say, man, my son don't even listen to Nas. Versus, man, my son don't even listen to Nas. What did y'all notice the difference? It's in a tonal shift. The hate is disguised by facts, but it's still showing itself. I'm definitely missing some, but for now, the last thing I don't consider hate is confidence. People, especially rappers, feel like their lyrics are the best. If you genuinely feel like you better than an artist and you say it, I don't consider that hating. The vast majority might consider you a hater, especially if that artist is widely regarded as better than you, but I don't. Okay, now that I got all of that groundwork set, let's roll the clips, starting with the Nas situation.
I admired Nas, but remember Nas' first record, The Barbecue, came out when I was in 11th grade. So Nas was my idol when I was young. Like, you dig? The wordplay, the music, everything. I was a superior Nas fan.
This right here is a classic hating strategy. You know you about to say something that can be perceived as hating, so you preface it with praise. Not necessarily saying he's about to hate, but this is what haters sometimes do.
As I got in the game, you got to realize that your rivals will be idols. I developed my own style in my own lane that these kids start to gravitate towards too. The same way I gravitated towards Nas when I was younger and things like that. It's a whole different generation. We're talking about 94.
What he's saying here makes sense. All rappers who doing this for a living want to sell records. Hip hop itself is very competitive. So if I'm releasing projects and you releasing projects, you in my lane.
A lot of these rappers have done a tremendous job, and I take nothing away from them, but they forget I got a hell of a catalog. Me, Jim Jones, myself, gold records, platinum records, gold albums, platinum albums. No, me, Jim Jones. No diplomats, no nobody else. Me, Jim Jones. Check my track record, then check everybody else's track record. Then go to the billboards and check all my entries, then check all them niggas' entries and shit like that. And I'm not taking nothing away from nobody, but I hear the comparisons and then niggas be trying to act funny when it comes. No, I've been spanking a lot of this shit. I'm talking about the industry. So let's not get into that where we get into numbers and I got to show you the statistics of what I've done to what other people has done. If you want to go to the billboard entries, pull up Nas billboard entries, then pull up my billboard entries.
This right here is difficult to gauge. I honestly don't think he hating. He just don't know what he talking about. According to Billboard, Nas is a far more successful artist than
me, Jim Jones.
I promise I'm not trying to cherry pick evidence in what he say. Just cutting out the ramblings and focusing on the most relevant statements that made him go viral. I can only use footage up to a certain amount, so to avoid copyright, this is how I gotta edit. On to the next clip.
What y'all stuck on is sales, cool. You heard there's a lot of people that sold more records than me that are also not around anymore. Pull up Nas Billboard entries, then pull up my Billboard entries.
Clearly, he was talked to behind the scenes or did his research.
I know I made a little boo-boo when we talk about the sales and all this type of shit. I don't feel like getting into that rhetoric about where I started and where he started.
Well, you said that bullshit.
But listen.
He went from glorifying his own sales and records as if they were superior to backpedaling as if that metric is something that don't matter to him. Probably because he found out commercially Nas is a far more successful artist than him.
What I did for Nas probably never been done for him in his life. He's never been that viral at all, ever. Ever. He's never been talked about like this ever in his life. The last time he was in some shit like this where people were comparing was when him and Jay was beating on him.
Say that.
You heard? And I don't want to talk about other people's career, but let's just get to the semantics of it.
Since the whole
Nas.
While it's true Nas hasn't really been in a rap beef / comparison in years, he is still a highly revered rapper in 2025 and the 2020s as a whole so far. At this point, Jim Jones is trying to argue this man's legacy and current standing as if he is far above him, when Nas is and has been beating him in damn near every metric internet-wise, even if we remove pure music sales.
I looked it up to see like who gets searched more in 2025. It's still Nas. Okay, streaming wise, Nas has about 9.1 million monthly Spotify listeners, while Jim Jones clocks in around 875,000. The Google-based searches, Nas gets between 200 and 300,000 searches a month globally. Jim Jones gets 40 to 70,000 searches.
I'm gonna be honest with you. All right, we all know that Nas wins, but listen.
It went from him wanting to compare stats,
But I want to go statistically.
to Jim Jones just saying he feels like he's the better rapper in 2025. Textbook goalpost moving. Another strategy haters use when their stance is debunked. He had to review or at least look up the fact Nas is a more accomplished artist, but Jim Jones still feels he's more relevant in 2025. Despite all that, his conviction is crazy. He believed every word coming out of his mouth. That doesn't change the fact he's incorrect. On to the Shannon Sharp clip.
But lyrically, I'm gonna keep it a stack with you.
Yeah,
Y'all
but look
ain't
how you
effing with
dress.
Nas.
Look how you dress. You don't even be in the same places I be in.
I'm confused. Jim Jones said, "Look how you dress," when Shannon brought up lyrics. This should show you he's obsessed with the overall aesthetic of someone rather than the material they're able to write. When I used to be outside rapping on the corner when we was kids and dirty, I was in my school uniform half the time. Being fresh does not equate to rap ability.
You got a bunch of 40 and 50-year-olds in their panties because I said I'm better than
It don't
Nas.
matter.
Look at you. Look at you.
Nobody.
So at the time of this video, Jimmy is 49 and Nas is 51. He brought up the age range of the people discrediting him in an insulting manner, trying to call them old or whatever. But bro, you old yourself. I get that he trying to say he one of the older rappers who in tune with the youth, but who exactly are you in talks with and influencing? Neon?
So act like we in a movie for 5 seconds, we about it just like a hard face. We just
This like
some shit like some, you know, like.
You need to stop that if that's the case. I don't see any relevant rappers in their 20s doing features or rapping with you. Maybe it's different in the streets of New York. Please inform me. I don't live out there, so I don't know. So as my deduction of the Nas section reaches its end, I will now give my final thoughts. I think Jimmy feels like he's not getting a lot of respect he deserves. I think we all know the feeling of putting in a lot of time and effort and not being appreciated or at least acknowledged for it, especially since he's still actively rapping. But it could also just be his ego talking. Maybe it's a mixture of both. My final verdict? I think Jim genuinely feels like he's better than Nas. Bringing up the sales and statistics was a mistake though. He should have kept it hip hop and challenged bro to a rap battle, because he will always lose if they go stat for stat. So, at least for the first interview with Joe and Jada, I don't think he was hating. However, the interviews that followed after, he is clearly hating, actively getting angry and arguing how he's better. He dropped his initial stance about sales, as he should, and continued rambling about stuff that doesn't affect how well you rap. Maybe it was to go viral. I know attention is how internet personalities and artists eat nowadays. Maybe he genuinely felt offended so many people disagreed. I have no idea. But the fact he continued to speak on bro, even when proven wrong in that aspect, he just went and found another angle to go at him, I classify that as hating. Let's move on to another recent happening. The Pusha T situation.
Can you tell me, can you sing along the 5 Pusha T records right now? His records.
Yes.
His records?
Yeah.
Name
I love
them.
Pusha. Nostalgia.
Oh,
Joint
you was a
with
Pusha
Kendrick.
T fan.
If
He's
you
like,
know, you know.
I didn't know he had fans like
No.
that. Can you name 5 Pusha T records? No,
Dreaming of
his
the
records.
Past.
See, but
No, can you? No,
But
can
see,
you rap to 5 Pusha?
I can't rap.
Like, yo, Jim way wild on them. Shout out to Pusha T. I love your soul, my dog. You're not in my top 50. You might be in Charlemagne's top 50 and things like that.
Pusha
But
top 50.
you haven't done that much for me in my life. Like I didn't never want to be like Pusha. I never had a Pusha moment in my life.
Once again, Jim Jones is attempting to mask his hating with compliments. As soon as Charlemagne started naming push tracks, he immediately cut him off and went to DJ Envy. Clearly, he was expecting a different response than the one that he got. Push very obviously seen this interview and hopped in the booth, as a rapper should. Even though Chains and Whips was teased years ago, it just officially came out with an actual release in July of 2025, and Push had this to say.
You think it'd be valor amongst veterans. I'm watching your fame escape relevance. We all in the room, but here's the elephant. You chasing a feature out of your element.
Of course I can't include the full verse, but he talking to this man's soul and every line directed. Jimmy has no real reason to hate on Push. He just feel like he should be where he at instead of proving it with his music. In the Nas section, you seen a clip where Jim talked about influencing the youth and trying to learn from them. He's clearly doing this because no one from his era, including the guys he came up with, respects him. Jim doesn't get any sort of placements due to his music. It's the viral clips, no pun intended, that he makes. And he should just stick to the streaming / internet stuff he been doing. He has seen massive success due to his personality and just overall being funny. He is a very entertaining trash talker. I'd be lying if I said I didn't laugh at some of his responses through the interviews he had as I was doing the research for this video. Jim, of course, responded on the same beat. I didn't think the response track he had was that good, but it's good they keeping everything on wax.
Talk about your brother, what happened to that boy? It's looking like it, they been selling crack to that boy. It's really though, nothing.
Jim was saying how Malice looked like a fiend. Malice looked very healthy for a man in his 50s. Meanwhile, Jim, you been looking homeless with the nappy braids since I was a kid, bro. I wouldn't have rapped about nobody's appearance like that if I was you. But moving on, and to close this section out, my verdict on what I think about Jim Jones' antics towards Pusha T. I actually don't think he was hating on him. Just the competitive nature of hip-hop and his cockiness getting to him. Like Push said, bro chasing a particular feature and feel like battling and beating Push can get him there. The next topic I will cover is the Max B tension.
Shout to Max B, he could be home any day, God.
Their situation, as well as the next one I will cover, is very multi-layered. I couldn't possibly recap everything that happened between these two, so I'm gonna try to summarize as best I can. Please correct me if I get anything wrong in the comments. I believe it's fairly common knowledge that Max B was writing for Jim Jones. Stack Bundles and others in his group Bird Gang were writing for him as well. When Max went to jail originally in 2006, he didn't have the funds to post bail. His only option was to sell his publishing to Jim Jones and sign a grimy bad boy deal as a result.
Any artist that I ever had, I always put them in the best position they could be. Even with the dude that was locked up and shit like that. In the beginning, I took advantage of only thing I knew because that's what I learned from the leader that I had.
Who was locked up?
I only say, you know who's locked up. And after that experience, I never ever took advantage of nobody else in my life when it came to doing business with music. Even with that, I relinquished the ownership of his publishing.
Now, whether you feel as though Max B should just be happy he got his freedom, or he is justified in the resentment he had for Jimmy because he wrote some of his biggest hits and was underpaid, that's gonna be you, the viewer's decision to make. I only wanted to point out that Jim Jones acknowledges he did him wrong. Now, this may just be a result of Max sitting in jail and having nothing but time to think, but he completely seems over the Jim situation. Despite he himself being behind bars, he admits he did some wrong in that feud as well.
You know what I'm saying? I think today we would have handled the situation different. But, you know, I mean, we was young, we was all crazy. And now we here, we older, we got kids, and people looking at us, we gotta set the right example. We can't be looking crazy out here, so it is what it is. It's all love. I'm trying to get back on that plate.
Now, Jim, on the other hand, has maintained the same stance throughout the years, shutting down every interviewer who speaks on a wave guide.
Sean in Cincinnati. Go ahead, Sean. What's your question?
Hey Jim, what's going on with you and Max B? Y'all squash that beef.
Yo. Tell your mother I said hi. Next caller.
All right. We got Marshall. That's not a subject that you touch on, right?
At all.
Will you work with Max B when he gets out of jail?
Fuck Max B.
Okay.
Max, suck dick. Fuck out of here.
A lot of people try to make peace, and you just won't. Now, I just want to ask you one question. I'm gonna be careful because you're my man. Is it because of what was said?
Bro, we're not going into nothing. You heard? You know how this is gonna go. I gave you a moment to do it, but we ain't doing that.
I don't want you to disrespect nobody. I'm just saying, why don't you forgive? Just can you answer that? Can you answer why you don't forgive? Is it because
I said I do forgive. I just don't forget.
But people been trying to squash that, and you don't want to.
I don't know what you're talking about right now, bro.
Max B coming home. Where we at with that? Are you able to get past that?
No, we can get past that now. You want to get past it, or you want to dive more into it, or you want me to tweak?
I want you to get past it at some point.
You want me to crash out?
I definitely don't want you to crash out because I don't want to crash out. Now, what I want for myself, I want for my brother.
I appreciate it.
While Jim isn't as volatile as he was in the early years, piecing it up is clearly not an option. Jim may have done him wrong financially, but I don't think this is hate. At one point, it definitely was. I believe it reached a point where Jim has no desire in squashing it, but there is no anger or animosity. So much time has passed, he just over it at this point. It has nothing left to say. So, surprisingly, I do not believe Jim Jones was or is hating on Max B. I believe he hated the situation and how he did business as a whole. With everything that was happening, Max B dissing him, linking with French Montana, the only emotion he could properly manifest was anger. Like Max said himself, they was both young and crazy. And I think that's a good end to this section as a whole.
Let's not get close to the gate, guys. They're gonna tell us to move.
Let's see it, nigga.
Hold up.
Let Lil Sharon get in there. Let Lil Sharon get in there. Go. Put Lil Sharon at.
I'm gonna give him the phone. Hold up.
Yo, them jeans ain't tight enough.
Now, before I get to the final focal point of this video, which should be pretty obvious, I want to make a few honorable mentions. Firstly, the French Montana situation. I had planned on dedicating an entire section to this, but seeing as they resolved the 10-year plus conflict they was having, I felt it was pointless to give it its own section. Another one is the Freddie Gibbs situation. Freddie mentioned an altercation he had with Jim Jones on his most recent project at the time of this video's release, Alfredo 2, where he rapped, "Gracias de nada, I'm blessing tables and saying grace. Smacked him in Miami, his boy jumped me, he played it safe." In interviews, Jim Jones denies any and all involvement, saying he never laid a hand on Freddie or did anything to hurt him. But I'll let y'all be the judge on if he's being truthful or not.
I think that's kind of hypocritical. You just put hands with somebody in Miami.
I did not put my hands on nobody in Miami at all.
Were you not a witness to somebody getting hands put on them in a restaurant in Miami? I heard somebody was slide. First of all, who took this person and slid him on the table on some movies? That's disrespectful. And if I was him, I'd never squash it. Why would somebody take somebody? Pay attention to me. Turn the camera to me. Said this. Put him on the table, on a dinner table, and slide him by his boxers and his shirt. Who had time to do that? Now don't cover your face. Who did it? Now why I did that? No, for real.
The Tony Yayo back and forth, only because it's still developing and we haven't seen a real Jim Jones response to what was said on the interview.
When have you seen Memphis Bleak or Jim go on their own tour personally? Me, I just did shows in the Swiss Alps. The Swiss fucking Alps. We not took these motherfuckers skiing in Vermont. I'm in the Swiss Alps. Like, it's a whole different level, you know what I'm saying? So I just let motherfuckers hate.
And lastly, hating on Tim Levels advertising one of his products on Instagram, just because he from Harlem and has ties to a very famous Dipset member. But that concludes that section. Now, on to the final topic of this video. Killer! The Cameron situation. Now, these two have been at each other's throats, for years, on again and off again. They'll have a dispute, make up, then fall out yet again.
He felt like you guys were his guys, and now you're on stage with 50.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
what exactly led up to that?
Well, for me personally, my stance on it was always, it doesn't matter. Like, if Jim is going to a show and he asked me to go, especially if it's with some people that is some tension there, I'm going to support my brother. I'm going to more than anything be there for my brother if something happens that shouldn't happen. Like I said, it's like if my wife is going somewhere, I just got to be there for my wife, regardless. You know, if somebody else, you know what I mean, don't like the idea of her going somewhere. You understand what I'm saying? I gotta go to be there for my wife. That's my wife.
So when me and you were battling during our music thing, you got members of Dipset to come to your show.
I'm niggas be on my dick, right?
But their most recent public dispute made crazy waves across the internet.
You talk about dick ride now, that's where this old shit, I would have left it alone. I would have left the old shit alone. But listen, dick ride, do you remember how we met, nigga? Pause. Mase like, yo, I think I'll teach him how to rap. Mase actually taught you how to rap, literally. He taught you how to rap.
Now I know this video is primarily about Jim Jones, but Cameron himself is a very special type of hater. He's a hater who sits on information and waits to be attacked. Now, some will argue he just defended himself. Jim can't talk crazy and expect nobody to say nothing back. Normally, I would agree, but both Cam and Mase are finding joy in exposing Jim. This dude is eating popcorn. You see them laughing, having a good time as they share stuff about his past. This situation stemmed from being on a podcast where he exposed the fact he only had Jim Jones perform at one of his shows to spite Cameron.
Oh, he having a moment. That's the Lloyd Banks. It's Lloyd Banks thing. He wanted that. He was watching them be that, like Mase be that and Cam be that, and he had one.
Mm-hmm.
And I just looked, and I knew, I just took the shot, Murder, to see, because I wasn't sure he was going to go for it. But I was like, we like Jimmy better than you anyway, Cam. You got to watch to see how he responds. Oh, shit, he really like that. Hey, give me this. Give me Jimmy. Yeah, tell him we want him. We want you at the show, Jimmy.
Jim clearly didn't like the fact he was being used. But what did you think 50 true intentions were? Especially if he had issues with Cameron at the time and Cam didn't even really say anything. He was just listening.
I did a lot for them niggas in their life, you heard? Both of them. Seeing the shit wasn't going right, so I started doing what Jim Jones needed to do for Jim Jones. Because the nigga that was supposed to be the Don wasn't taking care of the capo.
I don't think 50 or Cam's career trajectory changes much without you. Cam for sure, but he already had a buzz, so maybe not by much. Regardless, Cam clearly did more for Jim. I feel like he shouldn't have got mad. Him hopping on stage with 50, somebody who was clearly using him, was a mistake on his part. You heard what 50 really thought of you after all these years. Should have just held the L, but his ego couldn't let him. He chose to be angry and respond like this. Now that we broke down all those situations, let's recap. We went over the Nas situation, Push situation, Max B situation, Cam situation. Now let's do the calculations. Using my special formula, I'm able to calculate the percentage of hater Jim Jones is in the big year of 2025. Okay, the results are in, and he's actually only 60% hater. And this is because he often gives props and acknowledges the people he's hating on, often knowing they did indeed help him. A true hater would never acknowledge somebody he's at odds with helped him. This could be because he's matured over the years and he just reached the conclusion being mad about certain stuff is pointless. But in my honest opinion, he does still get angry about irrelevant things. He also keeps stuff going, like the Nas slander, but he just might be doing that to go viral. That's how people make their money nowadays, as I said earlier. Closing statements. Closing out this long-winded analysis, I think Jim Jones has been in the spotlight for a very long time. A few instances I mentioned his ego, and that's exactly what you obtain when you made millions, having thousands of fans recite your lyrics, partying all the time, and being famous at a young age. I think he still isn't that good at controlling his emotions, but he definitely got a lot better. As I said earlier, he 100% believes he's as great as he says he is. Confidence is good to have, but too much of anything could be bad for you. He needs to learn how to level it out with being a little bit more humble, or nobody will take him serious. If he just doing this for clicks and internet engagement, keep doing what you're doing. I guess it's working. But yeah, was there anything I missed and you wanted me to cover a little bit more in depth? You agree, disagree with some of the points I had, as well as my final hater rating? Let me know down in the comments, man. More videos like this coming soon. Switch it up a little bit too, man. Anyways, Sandlord, I'm out of here. Can't tell me about no hustling. I'm stunting on these broads. This is crazy, man. I'm not gonna lie, man. They snapped on this, man.
I love to hate because I'm a hater myself.
Okay.
You smell me? I'm a bona fide hater.
All right.
I hate everything.
You hate everything.
I'm just
All right.
playing, man.